Could you survive the Viking diet? Imagine waking up in a windswept Nordic village, the air crisp and salty from the nearby sea, and your breakfast isn't a bowl of cereal or a smoothie, but a hearty plate of smoked fish, dense rye bread, and maybe a chunk of cheese. The Viking diet is making a comeback, and it's not for the faint of heart. Spoiler, it's not all turkey legs and mead. While those iconic images of feasting Vikings gnawing on giant drumsticks and guzzling honey wine are fun, the real Viking diet was a lot more complex, and honestly, a lot more challenging. Let's see if you've got what it takes to eat like a Norse warrior. Picture yourself cooking over an open fire, using only what you could hunt, gather, or preserve. No supermarkets, no takeout, and definitely no processed snacks. Alternate opening. Why do 73% of modern foodies want to try ancient diets? Maybe it's the thrill of eating like our ancestors, or maybe it's the promise of a simpler, cleaner way to fuel our bodies. There's a growing fascination with going back to basics, and the Viking diet is at the center of this trend. Turns out, Vikings were the original meal preppers, minus the Tupperware. They had to plan ahead for long winters, salting, smoking, and drying their food to make it last. Imagine prepping meals for months, not just the week ahead. Ready to raid your kitchen Viking style? You'd be stocking up on root vegetables, dried fish, and hearty grains, not chips and soda. The Viking pantry was all about survival, nutrition, and making the most of what nature provided. Forget kale smoothies, Vikings fueled up on epic feasts. Their meals were communal, hearty, and designed to keep them strong through harsh conditions. Think big platters of roasted meats, fresh-baked bread, and bowls of foraged berries. But before you go full Thor, here's what the Viking diet looked like. It was a true test of resourcefulness and resilience, shaped by the rugged Scandinavian landscape and the changing seasons. First off, Vikings weren't just eating giant slabs of meat. Their diet was surprisingly varied, and they made use of every part of the animal and every edible plant they could find. Their meals were all about what they could hunt, fish, or grow, so every day was a little different. If you lived near the coast, you'd eat a lot of fish and shellfish. Inland, you'd rely more on wild game, grains, and whatever you could harvest from the earth. Think fresh salmon pulled from icy rivers, wild game like deer or boar, dense loaves of rye bread, earthy root vegetables, and enough berries to satisfy your sweet tooth. No refined sugar in sight. Instead, Vikings used honey and fruit to sweeten their dishes, making desserts that were both simple and satisfying. Cheese and butter? Absolutely. Dairy was a staple, especially in the form of tangy cheeses and rich, creamy butter churned from the milk of their livestock. These foods provided essential fats and calories to keep them going. But if you're scared of organ meats or pickled fish, brace yourself. Vikings wasted nothing, so liver, heart, and even tongue were on the menu, often preserved in brine or vinegar to last through the winter. Bread was another cornerstone, usually made from barley or rye, and often dense, dark, and packed with fiber. Forget fluffy white loaves. This was bread that could fuel a day of rowing or raiding. Here's the twist. Modern fans love the Viking diet because it's packed with protein, healthy fats, and no processed junk. It's a way to eat clean, feel strong, and connect with history all at once. Imagine paleo, but with more mead and fewer Instagrammable salads. Mead, a fermented honey drink, was the Viking beverage of choice, and salads were more likely to be wild greens and herbs than kale and avocado. Want to try it? Start small, swap in local fish, roasted veggies, and hearty grains. Experiment with smoked or pickled foods, and try baking your own rustic bread. The key is to eat seasonally and locally, just like the Vikings did. And don't skip the berries. Vikings needed dessert too. A handful of wild berries, maybe with a drizzle of honey, was the perfect way to end a meal. Stews were another staple, simmered for hours over the fire, packed with whatever meat, fish, and vegetables were available. These one-pot wonders were warming, filling, and perfect for sharing. Imagine starting your day with a breakfast of porridge made from barley, topped with nuts and berries, followed by a lunch of smoked fish and root vegetables, and ending with a communal feast of roasted meat, bread, and mead. Could you handle a full day eating like a Viking? It's a challenge, but also a celebration of food, of history, and of the strength it took to survive in the ancient North. Share your results below, subscribe, and join our Feast of Food History fun.